All right, welcome back to the final episode of Courtside Talk in 2022. This is how we're going to end the year with the Week 11 NBA MVP ladder. I'm your host, Matt Salib, aka Easy Money, aka Mr. Borrow Your Girl, aka Babyface Killer. I got Peter Atzo from Storm Fitness with me. What's up, bro?
Happy New Year. It's Mr. Honey Buns to Mr. These Guns. We here with the MVP ladder. Getting it done. Let's start it off, buddy.
Let's go. So we'll start about the people who dropped out of the top 10 race. By the way, before we start this race, if you're watching this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be coming out with a lot of hot content in 2023. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Now, let's get to this MVP ladder. Now, something shocking about who dropped out of the top 10. Obviously, Curry and Booker dropped out because of injury, which is understandable, but it hurts to see SGA drop out of this race because I love seeing his name in the mix. Why do you think he dropped out?
I mean, it's not for lack of clutch and saucy and crazy buckets. I mean, he's doing it all, but again, OKC is kind of like in the shits. They're kind of in the shitter with their rankings, and the record kind of sucks. So Shea gets shafted because of that. He's having a great season. They'll recognize him somehow. It will not be the MVP though.
Probably an All-Star nomination.
100%, 100%.
All right,
I don't see him getting an MVP. But another guy that's on this list that also fallen that's been having an amazing season is Sabonis. But I'd love to see his name on that list because he's been picking it up lately. Let's move on to the top 10.
All right, so we'll move on to the top 10. I'm gonna give it to you guys from 6 to 10. So from 6 to 10, number 6, Joel Embiid. Number 7, Zion Williamson. Number 8, Ja Morant. That's a big drop. Number 9, Jaylen Brown. And number 10, Donovan Mitchell. So Ja Morant was previously number 5, and now he's at number 8. Just before I let you say anything, I'm gonna say right now, I called it last week, and I'm gonna call it this week again. Joel Embiid is going to the top 5, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything he can for the Sixers. They're pushing out the W's. They got Harden back. Harden's putting up like 20 assists.
They just got Maxey back.
They just got Maxey back, and he put up numbers his first game. Hey, listen, Joel Embiid is holding it down, bro. He's defensive player of the year, bro. This guy gets in the middle of the paint and does everything for them. And then again, grabs the board, outlets the ball to Harden, and it's an easy bucket every time, bro. This guy's broken. He's actually broken. He's unguardable. Yeah, top 5 for sure.
I think
Ja Morant dropping. That's what you get for talking shit, I guess, bro. Like, I thought he was gonna back it up, and then the whole league started backing him up, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, with Joel Embiid, it's interesting because it seems like Brooke Lopez and OG Anunoby are leading the DPOY award right now, but Joel Embiid is giving them a run for their money. And I think if he's gonna play MVP basketball, that might add a little value to his DPOY campaign as well. But yeah, in terms of Ja, I think it's subject to change. I think it's interesting too. I guess it's that loss on Christmas Day. I think that loss on Christmas Day without Curry really hurt his
there was like
MVP
3
stock.
losses. There was like 3 losses where he chatted shit, and then I mean they got the shit beaten out of them, bro. By who?
Yeah.
By Ty Jerome. What's that guy? What's that guy on Golden State? Yeah, bro. It wasn't looking too good, bro. It wasn't looking too good for the Grizzlies when they were getting slapped.
So Jaylen Brown's getting some love. That's interesting. He was fully outside the top 10 the entire race. Now he's getting some acknowledgement, I guess, because I mean he's been playing incredible, but it's great to see.
He was an honorable mentions favorite, and I think he'll stay an honorable mentions favorite the way Tatum is playing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's move on to the top 5.
Oh, the big guns.
Number 5, someone who was number 1 last week and dropped 4 places. Number 5, Giannis. Now, he's had back-to-back games with 40 points and 20 boards. I think I saw that only Wilt did something like that.
Bro, how many stats have we seen about only Wilt, man? We've seen at least like 15 only Wilt stats this week, bro.
There's a bunch of stat freaks.
That's what NBA fans are snapping this week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting with Giannis because Giannis is amazing. What he's doing, like, given the situation with Holiday in and out of the lineup, Middleton still recovering from his left knee soreness. I guess the only thing that's really hurting him, like from a perfect basketball standpoint, is just the outside shooting and the free throws, right? I think that's what really separates him from KD and LeBron and Kawhi. Like, I feel like those guys will still have something on him until he fixes that. But if he fixes that, he'll be purely dominant, no weaknesses. Um,
Honestly, if they get Middleton back, we don't even talk about that because some of those shots that we're seeing Giannis brick, like I feel like he's only taking because it's kind of like in the flow of the game where defenses are kind of like overdose sagging, and he kind of just needs them to step up a little bit more. And usually in those situations, you would have Chris Middleton come off like a dribble handoff and just pull up a shot and make them pay for sagging off Giannis off that screen, right? But they don't really have that option anymore. So they're kind of just Giannis is kind of just like forcing one up, hoping it goes in, and then hoping the defense steps up 1-2 steps to open up the floor a little bit more to continue, their attack on the
yeah,
rim, which is what their initial game plan usually is. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like if they get Chris Middleton back, we don't even talk about how KD and those other guys have a step on him because of having that mid-range shot, because we don't even talk about it because he's not taking them no more. He's not bricking the 2 or 3, just trying to get the defense to step up. These guys go crazy, man. 40 20s. He did it again last night. Another 40-20 game. That was wild.
yeah.
So that's two of those games back to back.
Yeah. I mean, I would say at the end of the day, Giannis is so good that he can move from 1 to 5 back to 5 to 1 or 5 to 2, or it's
Completely.
subject to change. Again, at the end of the day, this is not about who's better than who. It's about who's taking care of their, NBA weekly schedule better than the next person. Um,
100%.
so how they do in the next 3-4 games will say a lot about their position next week. Let's move on to number 4,
A weekly
Kevin
schedule. This
Durant.
guy's been getting it done all month, bro. This guy's been getting it done for the last 2 months.
Easy
That can
money sniper.
He cannot miss. He cannot miss.
He's a walking bucket. He's averaging 37 and 5.4 assists per game. And I think the biggest thing about KD, like he's not stuffing the stat sheet the hardest among the top NBA players in this competitive market, but what he's doing is he's doing it efficiently, He's averaging 50-40-90 on percentages, and that's for his last 2 years since Achilles. So that's kind of what stood out to me. On top of his defense, he might not be a DPOY candidate, but he's top 10 in the league in blocks. Sitting at number 7. And outside of even the blocks, just his defensive presence, what he's done to help and mentor Claxton, you know what I mean? Like, these are things that they go unwritten. It's not something that you can necessarily prove on the stat sheet, but there's no way KD hasn't rubbed off on Claxton, because the way Claxton's been playing is way different than the last 2 years.
You know what? I was just gonna go into how you were talking about, like, he doesn't really need to do much on defense because he's that good on offense to be on this list. But also sometimes part of playing defense is having a really good offense. Sometimes a good defense is a good offense. KD, the way he's scoring, the efficiency, he's the way he's getting it done is unbelievable. He scores and the defense gets a chance to set up every time because he's not missing buckets and giving the defense, or turning the ball over and giving the opposing defense a chance to, go and hit the break on these guys, right? He's giving the defense a chance to set up every time, and that's just an easier way to get it done against most teams is getting buckets, and allowing your defense to set up. And he's getting that done every night, every possession, buckets, buckets, buckets. And then again, like those little misses, Claxton's just cleaning it up. He's getting it done. He's done an amazing job filling that role that they thought they would have had Ben Simmons do. Just clean up all the boards and dish out all the dimes, but he's just doing a great job cleaning up all the boards and just putting them back in at the rim. His efficiency is crazy. There are some nights where he's only missing one shot. 7 for 7 one night, 6 for 7 the next night. Crazy.
Yeah. A team that was sitting at around 11th place in the East is now second place in the East. So amazing run. I believe they're 10-1, or they're on a 9 or 10 game winning streak right now. I lost count, but the Nets are the hottest team in the league right now. They're putting the league
But
on
I
notice. And that's why he is rightfully at number 4.
but
Number
I still
3.
stand by. I still stand by that he's not gonna crack that MVP this
Yeah,
year
because
just
you're a
because of the
fucking
narrative.
hater. That's why.
I'm not. It's just it is what it is, bro. The race is that close, and he's already got that thing against him. So
No,
it
listen,
sucks.
this is what I always say. I always say if you've won it before, then you know what it takes to win it. So I'm never counting anyone who's won it before and who's a finalist, or who's playing that good of basketball. Like they could always tap back into that mode because they know what it's like. They've been the best
I
player.
think they need. I think the media that's voting for him needs one more season to forget about the shit talk.
All
I
right,
think they need one more season.
all right.
Sorry.
I guess you know the media more than I do. All right, number 3. Luka Doncic. This is someone who I'm surprised is not at number 1. Last week we spoke about how we were disappointed that he dropped out of the top 5. He was tied for 7th. He's averaging an absurd 34, 9, and 9 a game. He had a 50-point game. He had a 60-point triple double.
Hey, listen, if you got Luka on fantasy, brother, you've been chilling since Wednesday, bro. You've won your matchup since Wednesday, dog. Have a cup of tea and sit back and relax because this guy has been doing some all-time crazy stuff.
Yes, sir. You've probably been smoking the competition, smoking that hookah Doncic.
Luka.
No herbal bullshit. Straight tobacco.
This guy's the double apple master because he's okay. Number one, double apple hookah.
I
Number
still
two,
fuck
killing New York twice, killing them twice. He had to give the double apple a double spanking, and it was crazy. Oh man, that game, I thought that game against New York, I really thought Luka was gonna finish this game with like a 50 point triple double and an L, and this guy says, nah, F that. I'm going for 60 and we're winning this game in overtime. And he goes into doing some GOAT stuff. GOAT behavior from Luka the past couple of games. And again, like you said, number one guy in fantasy. Number one guy in fantasy, killing your matchups if you got him. Congrats.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the reason he's not at number 1 is because his team is just above 500. They're just 4 games above 500.
Oh, he'll get
Um,
there.
he'll get there, but I guess at the end of the day, like that's the reason. Like I'm sure we both thought in our minds like he should be number 1. After
Yeah. After
last
those
week's
two games.
performance. But if we actually want to justify it, I guess between the top 2 contenders, or the top 2 finalists for this week, the teams are in a better position.
Like you said, bro, all five of these top five guys have been putting up since Wilt stat lines. All five of them.
Yeah,
All of them.
facts.
All of them.
All right, let's move on to number 2. Jason Tatum. I might have to
Tatum.
put the second mag up behind the wall because this guy is going nuts. Um,
Tatum, baby.
he scored what? He's been scoring minimum 29 points a game for the last couple games. I think more than
He's
anything,
averaging 31.
yeah, averaging 31, 8 and 4. I think at the end of the day, it's just about closing out games. Like this team has by far, like marginally, like a huge, like winning record, right? Like it's way above 500. And the way that he's closing out games and carrying them mid games, and like Tatum's actually playing like all quarters. He's not like really taking a rest. And I think that's what's most admirable about this campaign that he's going for.
And not
Honestly,
only that,
yeah, go
he's
ahead.
not only that, he's getting it done with another top 10 MVP candidate on his team. Like Jaylen Brown has been in those honorable mentions almost every week on a week-to-week basis because of how successful the Boston Celtics have been and how successful him and Tatum have been together, getting it done together, figuring out how to get it done, not just them two one-on-one, but the whole Celtics squad as a unit. They've got we've talked about this ad nauseum about how deep this Celtics team is and how at every position they got a guy that can just kind of bail them out at the end of the shot clock because they're just they've had to do that on different rosters, right? managing that, your two stars managing that and keeping everybody well fed and everybody accountable on the defensive end, that's a tough task to do. And that's why Tatum's up there. That's why he's at the top of this list on a week-to-week basis. That's why the Celtics are up in the standings. That's why their win-loss record is crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. I think with Jason Tatum, like he's always been that superstar, like trying to prove that he's just like he can hang with the LeBrons, the Kyries, and all the big names. And I think at the end of the day, like his growth came different from like a player like SGA who's just been on like losing teams. Like, he doesn't have to worry about getting his own buckets. He could still have his own buckets and make that extra pass. And that's the difference this year. He's playmaking a little bit more. And I think that's what's getting you from like all-star recognition, all-star starter recognition to MVP recognition, which is way, way more difficult. So hats off to Jason Tatum. I definitely see him being a potential finalist in this race down the line, just because his team is doing well. And the truth about this award is that if your team is very successful in the regular season and there's like one player who stands out in that team, and it's not majorly a team effort, there's like one or two players who stand out, that plays a big role in this race, because at the end of the day, outside of the Westbrook MVP year, the like winning matters. As you could see for Luka should be number 1 right now, but he's at number 3 because winning plays a role.
Great segue into Westbrook winning MVP year, because Mr. Triple Double, Mr. White Wilt, Nikola Jokic at number 1, getting it done. Holy, bro, this guy sees a triple double every night, and he's just chilling. He's just chilling, bro. He's just dropping triple doubles, chilling, like nonchalantly, just like whoop diddy scoop diddy whoop diddy boop diddy. I don't know, bro. This guy's just be doing whatever he wants on the court. Like he sees the play 4 plays in advance. Like he's a basketball fortune teller. It's crazy.
Yeah, between him and Luka, they don't necessarily look the most physically talented, but if you ask someone in the league, they'll tell you like Jokic can run. Jokic can really run.
You can't drop those numbers without being fit.
His body motions look a bit slower. Like I think everyone's kind of used to like the Amari Stoudemire, like the Kevin Garnett, like the very like like the jacked quick Dwight Howard, like very quick movements. He doesn't move that quick per se.
But when he needs to,
he does it when he needs to. Again, him and Luka are very unique situations where they slow the game down and they make everyone kind of play at their pace. Outside of the passes, it's not very flashy game, so he's not gonna get the credit of Luka or any of the other superstars. But he'll fly under the radar all they want. Like at the end of the day, the NBA scouts, the journalists, like everyone's tapped into Jokic's game in terms of like the people who actually matter. Like maybe the fans, the fans.
The numbers are crazy. The numbers he's putting up are crazy. So like you said, it's not as explosive as you'd like to see. He's not postering guys on a night-to-night basis. But again, if you're tapping into those Nuggets game, you're seeing a masterclass of what playmaking, of what floor general looks like. He's coaching. He's an on-the-floor coach. He's talking to his guys. He's letting them know where to be, where to stand, and he's getting them the ball, right? And it's keeping everybody accountable on the defensive end. Because again, when you're scoring buckets and you're getting fed on the offensive end, it's just so easy to want to tap in on defense and just lock in. You got KCP putting up 20 the other night.
Yeah, and he didn't miss a shot. Like crazy, shot, bro. Yeah. Bruce Brown's been incredible. Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, Jamal Murray, Bones Highland had a career night.
It's kind of like everybody just. It's whoever's next to Jokic. It's whoever's next to Jokic is doing well, bro.
But this is what I like about it, because at the end of the day, this is what this award is about. Like this guy's making people around him better, right? Yeah. And that's part of this award. Like, why did LeBron win that year? Because he was making people around him better. On top of
and it takes a lot of study. It takes a lot of study to do that.
Yeah, and Jokic has the closest the NBA player has to averaging a triple-double at 26, 11, and 9.5 assists a game.
I think he'll
So
get there for the sake of trying to get this
yeah.
over.
So
It's
Luka might be scoring a bit
killing
more
on
on
me.
average, but I feel like Jokic is a little bit more well-rounded.
I was gonna
And
say I noticed the last few games he's kind of been chilling on the scoring end and kind of really been locking in on throwing the ball and throwing those dimes. It looks like he's trying to stay locked in to getting that trip dub average.
yeah, and at the end of the day, like he's doing it in winning fashion. And to me, that plays like let's be honest, like Denver wasn't really doing well. He was not mentioned for the like first 5 weeks of this race. Like he started off slow, right? And just to see that, like just to see how he puts his teams in positions and how he's consistent with it too. And like once he finds his once he finds his flow that he can really like post a triple double every night. Honestly, like it's crazy because the reason he gets counted out the most this year, on top of just like him not having flashy basketball and his name like being a small market team, whatever. The thing is, he's like he's not the type of player that is gonna like he's not gonna wow you in the highlight reel or anything like that, but he still finds a way to be consistent. And that's what I appreciate most about Jokic. He wasn't mentioned before, but I think he's gonna be a finalist for sure. Do you think he's a lock for a finalist?
Brother, he's if he averages a triple double, he has to be. If he averages a triple double, he has to be. The same way Westbrook was like, oh, but is the team winning? Is it he's averaging a triple double and the team is winning? He's he's got to be a lock. He's got to be a lock for top three, in my opinion. In my opinion, like he's got to be he's got to be a lock for top three if he gets that triple double average. He just does too much for this team. This team relies way too much on him. He does like so much for other guys in terms of I'm going to study your game and make sacrifices to my game so I can help you flourish at your game so we can flourish as a unit. And that's going to really matter in playoffs. It's really going to matter in playoffs, keeping guys accountable to playing when they're not touching the ball, right? And then in the regular season, you got to get your numbers so that you can get your contracts to lock in on playoffs and do those kind of things. So yes. I think you'll be a top lock just for that reason.
There you go. Number one, Nikola Jokic. Number one, this week's week 11 MVP ladder. So if you're still watching, we appreciate it. We fuck with you heavy. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video.
And live long and prosper this new year, 2023.
Yes,
let it be your GOAT year, baby.
We're going to do something different in the new year. We are retiring the power rankings. It was fun doing it for about a season and a half on and off, but we're going to keep it hot. We're going to have more headline videos and keep the MVP ladder going.
Yes, sir.
I'm your host, Matt, and that's your co-host, Peter, and we're out.
Beast.
Happy New Year.